radio and TV production, media law and ethics, graphic design, event management, marketing. For more information, 05 2188 or 0555 2080 56. Website bfmnetwork.com. Email info@bfmnetwork.com. Enroll now and experience the difference.
Good evening, welcome to news at 4:30 here in Big Family Radio, the Blogono Upper Class School Junction here in Accra. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, let's have a look at our recap of stories. The Electoral Commission has stated that the results will be announced regional coalition centers before final declaration. In other stories, EC wrong in disqualifying Amenfi Central NDC MP aspirant Samson Ladi Ayeni. Galamsey in Galamsey Fight 5 has been arrested 40 champagnes bent on Brim River. Away from that story, migrant deportation to increase, says European Union chief. Fuel price hike, rest one of unrest has FG Labour meeting deadlocked. Biden has approved $175 billion in student loan forgiveness for nearly 5 million people. Sin war hasn't been seen in more than a year. In other stories, Al Jazeera cameraman in a coma after being shot by Israeli forces. In entertainment news, Baumia meet art and tourism industry stakeholders. We have details of these stories and many more. Do stay with us. My name is Emmanuel Atta Kobina. Now the details of the stories. The Electoral Commission has announced that presidential results for December 2024 election will be declared at each of the 16 regional coalition centers before a final declaration and 8 national headquarters. This update was shared by the Commission's Deputy Chairman for Corporate Service, Dr. Bosman Asari, during the launch of the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers CODEO 2024 Election Day Observation and Post-Election Activities. Dr. Asari noted that all political parties have agreed to this new format with their agents present at the polling stations and collation centers. He explained, for every constituency, there will be someone assisting with all collation process and the same applies at the regional level. Under CI 127, regional coalition is part of the structure for presidential election. After results are compiled at polling stations, they will be sent constituency coalition centers and from them forwarded to regional coalition centers. At each regional center, we will announce the presidential result. He emphasized that the change aims to enhance transparency by allowing voters to track results region by region throughout the process. Dr. Bosman Asari also mentioned that a similar approach was successfully implemented during the 2020 elections. He further expressed confidence in 2024 election process, noting that the collation centers will be spacious and will only admit accredited observers and media personnel. Away from that story, private legal practitioner Samson Ladi Eniyani has criticized the Electoral Commission for its disqualification of Joanna Kujo, the National Democratic Congress parliamentary aspirant for Amenfi Central. According to him, the Electoral Commission has made significant error by basing its decision on any interlocutory injunction related to a previous election, which has since been annulled. Speaking to the media on October 16, Mr. Ladi explained that in an interlocutory injunction is merely a provisional order, not a final judgment. An interlocutory injunction is not a final order of a court. It does not determine the right of the parties. The fact that it restrains certain actions temporarily doesn't mean the affected parties will not emerge victorious at the end of the case, he explained. He stated that the injunction in question pertained to the May 13, 2023 NDC primary election, which was later annulled by the party in September 2024. A new election was conducted on September 8, 2024, with the Electoral Commission itself supervising and declaring Joanna Kujo as a duly elected candidate. Samson Ladi found it puzzling that the EC would disqualifying Kujo based on an injunction from the earlier annulled election. The Electoral Commission supervised the fresh election on September 8, 2024 and declared her duly elected. How then does the Electoral Commission turn around and disqualifying her over a case that no longer exists? He questioned. He described the Electoral Commission's decision as upset and ill-advised, urging the Commission to reconsider. The injunction related to the May 2023 election, which has been annulled. The fresh election in September 2024 has injunction against it. The Electoral Commission has overreached, acted unlawfully, Samson Aniyenin said. Now, in other stories, the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners Task Force has arrested 5 persons for mining in the Brim River at Mampong in the Itiwa East District of the Eastern Region. The task force also ablaze 40 shamfans and confiscated 2 newly built shamfans, which were just about to be deployed into the Brim River by the Galamseyers. The suspects are part of the numerous recalcitrant illegal miners who returned to the site to continue their illegalities a few days after military visited the area to burn several shamfans. 2 of them were arrested right in the middle of the river when the task force surrounded them while they were busily mining their shamfan. When the task force was moving out of the site, they chanced on a truck conveying 2 newly built shamfan being transported to the same site. 2 occupants of the truck took their heels upon seeing the task force, but they were given a horse chase by the task force and were subsequently arrested. The last person identified as Nana Kojo Enyimadu, who appeared claiming ownership of the chamfans, and others tried to prevent the task force from throwing the truck into the chamfans, was also arrested. The suspects, who were taken to KB District Police Command, are currently in custody and expected to be arraigned before court. Meanwhile, the truck with the newly built Shamfan has also been handed over to the police to aid their investigation. Mr. Thomas Labi, the treasurer of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, who led Wednesday operations confirming the arrest to the media, affirmed his association commitment to deal with the illegal miners polluting water bodies in the country. Now, in other stories, the Supreme Court has given 7 additional days to the lawyers of the Speaker of Parliament to file their statement of defense in the ongoing Richard Sky suit challenging the anti-LGBTQ plus bill. The defendant in the case, the Speaker of Parliament and the Attorney General, missed the deadline for the submission of their defense, moving a motion for extension of the time. The lawyer for Speaker of Parliament, Raphael Banagaman, noted that failure to submit the defense was not the disrespect of the court. He urged the court not to visit the sins on his client. Lawyers from the office of the Attorney General, however, explained that they can only submit the statement of defense after Parliament has attached the physical impact analysis of the bill. Lawyers for Richard Sky, however, did not oppose the bill application, but pointed out that they are not responsible for the delay in resolving cases. The Apex Court granted a 7-day leave for the Speaker of Parliament to file his defense. In an interview with the media after proceedings, Pakwesi Abedu, who represents Richard Sky, indicated that the memoranda of issues can only be filed after the defenses have been filed. You must have heard concern raised by the 9 this morning when I sought and leave of the court to discard the motion that the plaintiffs are the ones orchestrating the delay in hearing of the case. My reason for doing this was very clear. At the ordinary sitting of the Supreme Court on July 17, 2024, my contention was upheld the Supreme Court that until the defendant filed their statement of the case, we, the plaintiff, will not be in a position to distill issue for the filing of memorandum of issues. You will agree with me that the morning's application by the first defendant was to effect that they have not filed and requires some extension of time to file, meaning that the delay is not orchestrated by us, and so I don't know why someone should give the impression that it has the delaying of the process. Moving on to another story. Government says plans are far advanced for add kidney disease dialysis permanently to alignment covered by the National Health Insurance Scheme. The Chief Executive Officer of the National Health Insurance Authority, Dr. Da Costa Abuaji, says the board will be meeting next month to bring finality to the decision. The National Health Insurance Authority in June started absorbing the cost of dialysis for all patients at varying amounts, with the valuable group receiving free 8 sessions per month, while others had the session subsidized. The government free dialysis program, which started 4 months ago, is scheduled to end in 2 months. Since the announcement of the initiative, course had emerged questioning the way of forward after the 6-month duration early pass. This concern is coupled with the myriad of challenges that initially confronted the program, resulting in a number of agitation from the renal disease patient. But the CEO of the authority has allayed all concern, assuring of plans to sustain the initiative. He said the team has looked at the data, and we now know that by the data we can support the dialysis patients to extend to that they are giving not able to use amount of money we have been giving them. So there will be a positive news. I think from next month going, the board actually needs to decide on the way forward immediately. What we have even realized is that we are even spending less because the money we have given to the facilities, they are not even able to use it because we are only use projected figures because they submitted the list inability. So what this means is that we are having the actual cost of the dialysis based on people assessing it from the specialized facilities that we selected. So we will also use the project and roll it out across the country. According to him, all outstanding issue with the start of program has been dealt with. So we started in June, but we paid June and July. Then we paid August and September upfront in such a way that the facilities will get money to work. So initially, when the facilities were trying to adjust to the extent that we issued the statement that any patient who paid in June should be refunded to today, ask the patient if they have received their money or not. We take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we move on to international news.
Admission. Are you looking for a computer institution with a serene atmosphere in equipping you with the ability to deepen your understanding and in-depth knowledge in computerization? Then the answer is Big Family Multimedia Institute. Our dedicated and experienced teachers are ready to provide personal attention, support, and help you bring your fusion to bear. We are located at Amasama and Dobrogono, Upper Class Junction, and Santa Maria Family and Friends. For more information, contact 0555 20 80 56 0540 932 188. Website bfmnetworks.com. Email info@bfmnetwork.com. Other affiliates include Center for Trade, Big Family TV, Big Family News, Big Family Radio, Big Family Event, Big Family Multimedia Institute, KabaraInfo.com, Trustees, Okman Motors, Soko Mall, ABK TV Ghana. Enroll now and experience the difference.
You are all that matters.
Welcome back from that commercial break. Now let's do some international news. Kenyan Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has failed to appear in Senate to testify at his impeachment trial, with this lawyer saying he has been taken ill. The deputy president, who was present in the House in the morning, had been due appear from 2:30 local time to defend himself before a vote was due in Thursday evening about whether to remove him from office. The sad reality is that the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya has been taken sick and is in the hospital, said his lawyer, Paul Munyitai. Sitting have been suspended until 5 o'clock. Speaker of Parliament Amos Nkingi said they were expecting the deputy president to take the witness stand then. This is a time-bound process. Unfortunately, he said, the impeachment trial cannot be legally extended beyond Friday. The speaker said the case could then proceed without him, or for exceptional reasons he could be appear later, citing a rule of the trial procedure. Speaking to local Citizen TV, Senator Daniel Mazono said this was an exceptional trial and another new exceptional situation has risen that is not even anticipated by the law, saying they would make submissions to push the speaker make a judgment. He said the deputy president just looked tired but had lunch at the office with other senators who had said he was fine, and with everyone expecting him to appear before his defense. Moving on to another stories. Niger's military leaders have renamed street and monument bearing French names in the latest move to cut links with the country's former colonial colonial power. Avenue Charles de Gaulle in the capital Niamey is now Avenue Jembo Bakiri in honor of Nigerian politician who played a key role in the West African countries struggling for independence. Most of our avenues, Bolivar Land, and streets bear names that are simply reminders of the suffering and bullying our people endured during the ordeal of consolation, said junta spokesperson Maji Colonel Abudumans Amadou. Niger's relationship with France and other Western allies deteriorated after President Mohamed Bazoum was ousted in a coup last year. Like its military-led neighbors, Mali and Burkina Faso, Niger has courted Russian for military support as a Judaist insurgents threaten the region. And the three countries have clubbed together to form that they call the Alliance of Sahel States. Under Bazoum, France had more than 1,500 troops stationed in Niger to help fight Judaist, a group linked to both Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. They all withdrew by the end of the last year. A ceremony was held in Niamey on Tuesday to mark the various name changes, including the avenue once named after a French general, as well as a war memorial that was built to remember those who died in the World War I and World War II. It now pays homage to all civilian and military victims of colonization to the present day. Charles de Gaulle was a soldier and politician who formed a French government in exile during World War II when the Nazi German force overran France. He became leader of the Free French Forces. Many Africans in French colonies volunteered to fight for the Free French Forces, though they were also drafted into service. About 400,000 came from Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia, and more than 70,000 from Senegal and other sub-Saharan colonies. They took part in the aliens landing in the south of France in August 1944, which were crucial to ousting the Nazis from the area. Away from that story, European Commission's President Ursula von der Leyen has said the EU could draw lessons from a contested Italian policy of processing migrants offshore in Albania, as leaders of the 27 member states hold an EU summit focusing on migration. Ahead of the Brussels summit, she wrote to EU leaders to say the European Union's executives will present a new proposal for legalization to increase deportation of migrants. Italy has begun sending some migrants to processing center in Albania. Earlier this week, 16 men were transferred to Albanian port of Shenzhen on Wednesday. But hours after the arrival, it emerged that 2 were minors and 2 more were medically vulnerable and would therefore be returned to Italy. Other European Union countries have begun considering ways to process migrants in the third countries. On Wednesday, the Dutch government said it was weighing up a plan to send rejected asylum seekers to Uganda. By framing this week's summit around the issue of migration, von der Leyen, who is starting a second 5-year term as a European Commission chief, appears to be responding to pressure on migration from across Europe. In her letter to member states, von der Leyen said the return rate of the irregular migrant from European Union countries is currently only about 20%, meaning the vast majority of people who are ordered to leave, and European Union member states do not. Member states should all recognize the decisions taken by the European Union countries to ensure that migrants have also returned decision against them in one country cannot exploit cracks in system to avoid return elsewhere. Von der Leyen wrote. Under the Italy Albania scheme, some of the migrants rescued in the Mediterranean will be sent to Albania, where their asylum claims will be examined. The two processing centers, which cost about £650 million, equivalent to 645 million euros, were due to open last aspiring, but were planned by the long delay, have been paid for by the Italian government and will be operated under Italian law. They will house migrants while Italy examines their asylum requests. Pregnant women, children, and vulnerable people will be excluded from the plan. Other stories. The House of Representatives on Wednesday cautioned that the recent hike in fuel pump prices could trigger social unrest. The Green Chamber handed down the warning as a meeting between the federal government and the labor leaders over the increase in petrol prices ended in a state stalemate on Wednesday. Last week, the NNPC retail outlet raised petrol prices to 1,030 naira per liter from 897 naira in Abuja, while in Lagos the price jumped to 998 per liter from 998 naira per liter from 868 naira per liter. Other regions experienced similar increases. This is the second price hike in a month, reflecting an increase of about 14.8% or 1,033 naira. The development triggered higher transportation and food costs across the country. The organized labor and the organized private sector demand an immediate reversal of the price hike. The Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress condemned the price hike and called for an immediate reversal. But addressing the issue during the plenary, the House called on the federal government to immediately reverse the hike in the price of petrol and cooking gas, given the current economic hardship across the country. The resolution of the House praying for the intervention of the executive arm government followed the adoption of the motion of the urgent public importance moved on the floor of the Green Chamber by the minority leader Kingsley Chanda and 100 others. Still in Nigeria, the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency has urged riverine communities along the rivers Benue and Niger to relocate to higher grounds following significant rises in water levels due to continuous rainfall. In a statement released on Tuesday, NIHSAA Director General Omar Mohammed warned the residents near the river's bank to evacuate as water levels in the river Benue had reached critical points. Makudi, in a particular, has recorded dangerously high water levels, with Lukaja and other stations also nearing flood threshold. Mohammed cautioned. He stated that water gauge data from key stations including Lokaja, Umashia, Makurundi, and Ibe showed consistently high levels exceeding 9 meters between 9 and 15 October. The map highlights critical flood-prone zones across Nigeria, especially around Benue and Niger. Mohammed also noted that the management of Keninji and Jibam dams is closely monitoring and regulating water releases to mitigate downstream flooding along the Niger. He called for full cooperation with emergency response agencies and advised citizens to move to safer areas to avoid worsen impact of the floods as rainfall continues. Now we are moving to United States. With less than 3 weeks before the November elections, the Biden-Harris administration is reminding voters how it has delivered a historic amount of student debt relief, even as Republicans have challenged several of its efforts in court and banked at the cost. Another round of forgiveness was announced Thursday, bringing the total amount of student loan cancellation to more than 175 billion for nearly 5 billion people since President Joe Biden took office. That's roughly equal to 11% of all outstanding federal student loan debt. More than 1 million of these student loan borrowers received debt relief through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, which promises loan forgiveness to public sector workers like teachers and nurses after they have made 10 years of qualifying payment. The PSLF program has been in place for more than 15 years but had been riddled with the administrative problems. For too long, the government failed to live up to commitment, and only 7,000 people had ever received forgiveness under public service loan forgiveness before Vice President Kamala Harris and I took office, Biden said in a statement. Biden Department of Education made it easier for borrowers to qualify for the public service loan forgiveness extract construct for former President Donald Trump, who repeatedly proposed ending the program when he was in the White House. Thousand announcements impact about 60,000 borrowers who are now approved for approximately 4.5 billion US dollars in student debt relief and public service loan forgiveness. Away from that story, moving on to India. One of the Israel most wanted men, Yahya Sinwar, hasn't been seen since the war between Israel and Hamas began on October 7, 2023. He also hadn't been publicly heard from for almost a year until mid-September. On September 10, he issued his first statement since the war, congratulating Algerian President Abd Madijed Tabboune for his election victory, according to Hamas Telegram channel. The next day, his office said he wrote letters thanking those who offered condolences after the death of Ismail Hamini, his slain predecessor. And on September 13, a letter was sent to Hezbollah Chief Hassan Nasrallah. CN could not verify if Sinwar was indeed the author of the letters. Sinwar was named political leader of Hamas after Haniya was assassinated in the Iran capital Tehran in July. He is seen as more hardline than his predecessor in dealing with Israel and favors cooperation and closer ties with Iran and allied Islamist groups such as Hezbollah. U.S. officials were mum in the immediate moment after the Israel Defense Force announced it was investigating whether a strike in Gaza had taken out Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. Israeli sniper in the Gaza Strip this month is in a coma has not yet been allowed by the Israel to leave the enclave for urgent medical treatment. The Palestinian journalist was shot in the neck as reported on the Israeli grounds invasion of the Jabalia refugee camp in the northern Gaza while wearing protective gear that clearly identified him as a member of the press. Despite appeals from the three media freedom organizations, the Israeli authorities have not allowed Wahidi and fellow Al Jazeera cameraman Ali Al-Atta to leave Gaza for life-saving medical treatment. Al Jazeera Arabic on Thursday reported that Al-Wahid's condition had deteriorated since he was taken to hospital on October 9. Doctors at the Public Aid Hospital in Gaza City said they were unable to treat him and prevent complete paralysis, adding that he suffers from damage to his arteries, veins, and shattered bones. The hospital had repeatedly pleaded for Al-Wahidi to be transferred abroad as resources on site were insufficient to treat his injuries. We take commercial break. When we come back, we will do some entertainment. Now let's do some entertainment. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia hosted a crucial engagement with the key members of the Ghana's creative art industry and tourism at the Aliza Hotel in Ridge, Accra. This event drew a wide array of professionals, including musicians, fashion designers, event organizers, models, hairdressers, the media, and other practitioners in the creative arts sector. The meeting was part of the Vice President initiative to collaborate with the stakeholders and position the creative art industry as a major driver of economic growth. The central focus of the gathering was to listen to the concern, challenges, and expectations of the creative industry professionals, while also outlining the NPP plans to develop sector into more lucrative and sustainable industry. In his address, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia emphasized the importance of the creative arts sector in the overall development of the Ghana's economy, stating that it holds the potential to create jobs, enhance tourism, and promote Ghanaians' culture on a global stage. He also acknowledged the challenges faced by the industry practitioners, particularly issues relating to infrastructure, funding, access to international markets, and intellectual property rights. To tackle this challenge, the Vice President shared some key policies his government plans to implement if elected in 2024. Creative Arts Development Fund. The Vice President announced the establishment of a dedicated fund aimed at supporting practitioners in the creative industry. This fund will offer financial assistance to emerging talent, support the development of the new project, and provide grants for creative initiatives that promote Ghanaian culture and heritage. Another story. Joanna Jan Kujo, the wife of a Ghanaian high life superstar Andrew of Kache fame, has been disqualified from contesting the 2024 elections as a parliamentary candidate on the ticket of the NDC. Jan was elected as the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Amenfi Central after winning the party's primaries. However, her candidature was placed in danger after she was sued for forging her party card for make her eligible to be a candidate. The case, which is pending before the court, has led an injunction being placed on her being able to hold herself as a parliamentary candidate. This led the Electoral Commission disqualifying her pending the final determination of the case against her. In a letter dated October 10, 2024, signed by the Samuel Tete, the deputy chairman in charge of operation at the Electoral Commission, Joanna Jan Kujo was informed about her disqualification because of the court case. And well, this brings us to the end of news at 5. Much appreciating to our sponsors, Big Family Multimedia Institute.